So how can you make this better? And that's a question that we ask ourselves about this particular vehicle, but it's actually a question we ask about any vehicle. And it's incredibly important because it's not just about some egotistical reason of I think that I know best and our business is going to change everything without any concern for what's gone before. It's not that at all. But by asking that question, it forces us to remember what's already great about this vehicle. And actually, that's more important than the work that we do here at eDub Services, where we take classic vehicles like this and we, rather than having them powered by petrol and outdated engines, we power them with clean, electric, powerful energy. And so that takes us to this particular vehicle, and we're going to spend this video talking through the updates that we've made to our split-screen electric conversion so far, and teasing some of the future things that are coming down the pipeline with the actual core electric conversion. And bearing in mind, as we said before, what makes it great already, and what can we do to fill in the gaps that makes it a really perfect vehicle. My name's Kit Lacey, and thank you for watching this video from eDub Services, and I'm just going to leave you to look at it for a second. So arguably, this might be the most beautiful vehicle that we've had through eDub HQ here in North Yorkshire in the UK. And I say that surrounded by other beautiful vehicles, and they're not listening, so don't worry about it. But again, it's looking at this, it makes me a little bit nervous because there's so many things, again, that are perfect about this car. Now, it's already gone through a massive restoration before it came to us. It's had a beautiful life before us. And before it came to us, it's got new front suspension, new paint job, beautiful new interiors, which I'll show you in a second. And then we're adding our electrification purely for the reason that they didn't really enjoy driving it. It's a strange one. So the couple who own this particular vehicle, they love it to bits. Of course, why wouldn't you? But they don't love driving it. So it become one of those things where it was kind of sat there glaring at them and screaming at them, say, drive me. But the engine was just too unreliable. And it was a good engine. It wasn't dreadful, but it was one of the original engines, original style power engines from this particular era. And it just wasn't good enough. So that's when they got in touch with us here at eDub Services to get really stuck into it and to take the beautiful, perfect aspects of the VW split-screen camper van and to add our electrification systems and a couple of the other little extras as well. The first one that you can see, a little bit of an easy one here, is a green number plate. This will be registered as a tax on the tax form as an electric propulsion vehicle. And having a green number plate does a couple of things. One of those is it's a visual identity that it's a good conversation starter. How come you've got a green number plate when you're a classic camper van? That's always fun. It can stop you from getting ugly looks if you're at the electric charging points. We've had that a few times where we've parked at public charging points and had a few scowls. And we have to say to people, no, we are genuinely electric. We are actually trying to charge here. The other big thing that we do it for is because of, it's a safety reason, actually. So if this particular vehicle was involved in an incident, let's say there's a multi-car incident on the motorway, and this vehicle is involved, what the green number plate does is it's a very immediate signal to the normally fire crew that are getting involved with sorting out the vehicles in that situation, that this vehicle isn't what it might initially look to be. And that's a conflict that we find where the vehicles themselves, we want them to stay looking original. We're not going to bling it up and put loads of modern things on it and make it look like a modern vehicle. But that means that in an incident, we need the emergency services to have something that gives them a clue as to what's going on. And yes, they will use number plate recognition technology to work out immediately what type of vehicle it is. But anything that we can add that gives some kind of subtle sign that this is different to what it might look like on the surface is a massive help. Of course, we could go completely over the top with shouting about how electric this is, but that would kind of ruin the point. So in the incredibly unlikely event of this becoming involved in an incident on the road, adding the green number plate is a really good way of identifying that. So next thing I want to show you is we're going to move into the cab. So it's a lovely place to be in the driver's seat of a VW camper. You're nice and high up, you've got your nice big wheel, you feel really in control of the road. And it's wonderful as well in a vehicle that's actually no bigger front to back, side to side than a Nissan Leaf. easy to park, easy to drive, nice and high up. You're in charge. In here, I wanted to show you, first of all, what's gone on so far, which is, so this is going to have lots of hidden features like heating and air conditioning that are going to be kind of hidden around. Slightly, you'd see them if you looked for them, but the idea is that you don't see them. But the other great thing that we've added is our custom dials. Now, originally, you would have had simply a speedo and a fuel gauge, and this particular camper van also had a engine temperature gauge. So rather than destroying the dash and having to remake it or fill in some holes and paint job, we thought we'd repurpose those spaces. So you've got now your motor temperature gauge on the left-hand side there, and this beautiful original style speedo with state of charge gauge now for your battery. Now this is going to be having a 62 kilowatt hour battery pack. That's the largest battery pack that we can get into this vehicle because of the weight. The weight is very important. We can't go any bigger than that, and because the axles won't hold it. So 62 kilowatt hours is as big as we can go, and that's what this vehicle is going to be having. And so that will show up on with the state of charge gauge, so you'll be able to know roughly how many miles you've got to be driving. In the front as well, we're going to be adding things like our digital throttle pedal, removing the gear sticker's gone, the clutch pedal is disconnected but needs removing. But other than that, in this front space, as it's pretty gorgeous, we're going to leave it as it is. So it's a gorgeous interior, absolutely brilliant. You've got a full rock and roll bed here in the back, which is our preferred method of having a seat in the back here. There's storage underneath this seat. There's a little pop down seat there. And then we've made a few little adjustments to the cabinet situation, which I'm going to talk you through now. What this came with originally was one of the standard kind of single hob sink hookups. So it was like a gas hob setup. And that's fine, but it's gas. And so when you're kind of converting to electric, it's always something we talk about because people are already in the mindset of going, do you know what, I don't want to be using up any fossil fuels in this vehicle. Let's shift the whole thing to electric. And so we have put into this vehicle, or we're in the process of putting into this vehicle, our off-grid camping setup. What that does is, techie bit for a second, is it takes the 400 volt DC battery pack, which is going to be in the back of the vehicle, and there's an inverter system that can convert that from 400 volts DC into 240 volts AC power. What that means is that you can run traditional household power appliances, like an induction hob, from the 400 volt battery, which in practice means you can be fully off-grid. So you can park up in a lay-by, you can throw the kettle on, you can also use the 3-pin plugs that are down here. So anything that's traditionally using a kind of AC system or would need to be plugged into the grid, so into a campsite or into a home or even into a vehicle charger, anything that would need traditionally power from outside the vehicle to function doesn't in this vehicle. And that's something really exciting. So yeah, it's an induction hob, a single sink system. It's also freed up a bit of space in the cabinets because obviously now we don't have a huge gas bottle or a gas dropout safe cylinder under there. So it's freed up a load of space underneath as well. And secondly, things like this always make me nervous. Beautiful curtains originally were right next to a gas hob. Not my favourite way of positioning things like this, don't care how inflammable they are. So induction hob, yes, of course it gets hot. It's not a naked flame. That is much, much safer now with that setup involved. So hello from the depths of a VW split screen. This is the engine bay, and not many people get to sit in these positions because normally there's an engine here. But I just wanted to show you the next and final piece of the upgrades that have gone into this vehicle so far. So ultimately, this is where the engine would have been, the gearbox would have sat underneath, and the fuel tank would have sat up here on the shelf. And we still have the original starter battery here. That will be replaced with our ECB system that you will be able to see a bit more details about in our kit video that I'll link to. But what we've changed in the back here is this particular vehicle has had independent rear suspension, as you can see underneath. Now, IRS is something that is important to our conversions because we've designed them around a T2, and that has similar IRS independent rear suspension systems in the back. And a lot of split screen camper vans have IRS installed for reasons completely detached from electric conversion. They are just better systems. So the original suspension systems were just clunky. They weren't very nice to drive. They had a lot of moving parts that would fail. So they had reducers on the actual wheels themselves and things like that. So if you ask most, I'm not going to say any, if you ask most VW restorers, they would suggest that if you've got a split screen camper, an IRS upgrade is going to be a good idea anyway. But it's also it is necessary for us to do our electric conversion as well. So that's what this version has had. Now it's at the stage where the IRS system is fitted. And everything is attached back on again. What you do next is you get the full vehicle weight sorted out, and then you make your adjustments on the torsion bars before you finally fix in your shock absorbers. So that's the stage it's currently at right now. But I just wanted to give you a little look around in this particular area. But yeah, once we're all done, I definitely won't be able to fit in here. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I'm sure you, along with myself and many other people, are just as excited to see the updates on our VW split screen electric conversion. If you've enjoyed this video, then why not like it? Why not subscribe so you can see more of the videos that we've got? We have a ton of videos on our channel, a back catalogue of other projects that we've been working on. You can go back and see part 1 of our conversion of the electric camper van, which is more about the engine, the drivability of it before we removed all of those components. You can also check out our other videos about our new kits that are available to order if you're a trade customer. And of course, all the details you can find on our website, which is edubconversions.co.uk. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.